Hi everyone, I'm Rick Blackwell. Welcome to helping our kids grow up healthy, safe, and strong. In this difficult time, the Palm Beach County School District and the Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County are joining forces to assist parents, teachers, administrators, and members of the community as they work to help young people. The organizations are united to ensure all children reach their developmental milestones, succeed in school, and become thriving adults. Let's begin with a look at the Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County. Here's CEO Dr. Lisa Williams-Taylor.
I'm Dr. Lisa Williams-Taylor, CEO of Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County. Children's Services Council was established in 1986 by the voters of Palm Beach County, and we were reauthorized in 2014 with nearly 85% of the vote, which we are very, very pleased with. So the Children's Services Council is focused on four main outcomes: that our children are born healthy, safe from abuse and neglect, ready for kindergarten, and have access to quality after-school and summer programs. And so we do that through funding programs that are direct services to children and families, home visiting, parenting, mental health counseling programs, and then we fund our neighborhood-based programs that are called Bridges, and then fund child care scholarships and dollars to improve the quality in both early care and education settings as well as after-school settings. All in all, over 500 different organizations receive dollars from Children's Services Council every year. The partnership we have with the Palm Beach County School District has been amazing for a very long time, but I would say it's even stronger today. We have so many different projects that we're working on together. The Children's Services Council, working very closely with the school district, we are able to provide 1,000 families in our Bridges neighborhoods with scholarships for internet access, specifically because we want to make sure that our students have whatever tools they need in order to fully immerse themselves in school when it gets back in session. As parents, we all have different points and times where we need advice. If we want to be the best parent for our children, it's just really critical that we take advantage of those that may know more, have gone through it before us, and we could take all of that information, be the best parent that we can be so that our children can grow up healthy, safe, and strong.
Thanks, Dr. Williams-Taylor. And here at the Palm Beach County School District, we are certainly proud of our involvement in the Children's Services Council. School District Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy and School Board member Dr. Deborah Robinson are both members of the Council of the CSC. The influence of the school district also can be seen in the work done by experts inside the Children's Services Council. The organization provides resources for parents to help children achieve success in school, including some very effective videos on improving literacy in young people.
The really great thing about reading is it is a great opportunity for parents and a child to build a bond that will last a lifetime, because it is essential to understand that all those skills and strategies you learn with reading, you sometimes reflect on how you learn those strategies, how you learn those little tricks that you learned today. And you start to think about, who was that person that was there with you? But the most important thing to understand too is, when you are reading with your child, you're creating a moment that is going to teach them that this is a special time and something that is such a great passion that we're hoping that one day they'll be able to replicate for the future. I view reading as something as special as a family recipe, something that you want to carry on from generation to generation. So thinking about that special recipe or just that special book is you're creating those special bonds and moments where your child will reflect and appreciate that time, that moment. You took time to stop every other thing you had to do, because on our busy day, we have so many things to do. But stop for that moment and give that one-on-one time, or if you have a sibling, two-on-one time. But to understand that this moment is ours, and this is a special moment that we want to share together. And remember that It's a beautiful thing. It's really important to understand that as your child grows and develops, that your techniques will have to change and adapt to your specific child. Not to say that every child develops the same exact way, but there is a pattern and sequence. So when in the beginning, it is important to focus on those pictures and help them understand that they do tell that story. And then you're going to emphasize on those words and make those connections with those pictures and the words together. And then as you're going on, you'll start to build upon a time where you're able to add questions and focus on different aspects of the book, whether it be where's the first word of the book on the page, or where's a certain item that might be missing from there, telling them clues. Because the ultimate goal is you're building upon an independent reader and thinker. Somebody who's going to look at a book, absorb it, and start to think about making connections, not only to that book, but to other books, so they can make other connections to that and build and build and build. When you're encouraging your child to read, it's really important to understand that you are creating a bond. You are creating a moment for them to have intrinsic motivation and possibly a passion for reading. So when you're reading, it's important to make that your special time. It's important to make sure that you are solidifying the fact that this is not a chore. This is something that is fun. And another thing that's really important is, parents, as you have time, it's important for them to see you reading as well. Because if they never see you reading naturally in your environment, utilizing the same skills, then they won't believe you when you say reading is important, because seeing is believing. Beyond the traditional reading a book time, there are other enrichments that you can utilize that will help your child build literacy and foundational skills in language development. It's really important that when you are going throughout the day, you're pointing out as much literacy as you can. You're utilizing strong and rich and juicy vocabulary every day so that your child is able to build and learn different words. It's really important for them to see you in your natural environment, utilizing the skills that they one day can live up to. For example, if they're going to the grocery store, you might be able to make a mock pretend list of things you know you're going to need. And you're going to have your child look at that list and say, oh, do we have this? Where's the apple? And different items like that. But the most important thing is you make literacy within and embedded in their lives every single day. So not only do they grow an appreciation and a love and passion for reading, they understand that through our livelihood, literacy is key to success.
The School District of Palm Beach County keeps the safety of students at the forefront by providing behavioral and emotional supports for students and families to ensure success. Programs include mental health services and social emotional learning, or SEL. SEL helps students develop the self-awareness, self-control, and interpersonal skills that are vital for school, work, and life success. Here's more from local experts on things parents can do to help their child's mental health.
So first of all, it's important to understand that depression is a brain disorder. And I'm glad that parents are asking about that, because for so long there was such a stigma with even talking about depression. So signs and symptoms in children will vary, but they could be a sad mood or increased irritability, decreased appetite. Kids, particularly adolescents, may be more isolating. They want to stay in their room. They no longer have any interest in their activities. And certainly there is a great concern when they maybe begin to fall behind and not do so well in school. So I think it's important to really differentiate between the typical sadness. We all get sad from time to time, versus the brain disorder. The one key feature is the impairment in functioning. So when a child is sad for a long period of time, when they're extremely irritable, but when they really stop functioning at their normal level, that's when parents should worry. But I have to say, as a child psychiatrist, I am worried about the amount of time that, at least in my patient population, that our kids are spending on technology and on social media. I see a lot of, particularly adolescents, who are really struggling with cyberbullying, with being bullied online. I have lots of my adolescents who are quite anxious, even anxious to go to school, because I don't know about many in the audience, but I will just tell you, I won't tell you exactly how old I am, but when I made mistakes in school, they weren't broadcast, they weren't there for everyone to see. And our children are living in a different world. So I think it really depends on the child, on what's going on. It's important that we talk to our children and teach our children coping skills, what to do when you are being cyberbullied, what to do when you make a mistake, and now the whole school knows about it. So those, again, are the discussions that parents should be having with their children. And if parents, again, are finding that their children are being cyberbullied, or they are not exercising or getting enough physical activity, or not doing their homework, that's when parents should consider decreasing screen time. We want to make sure that folks get 30 minutes at least of physical activity outside. I talk to my adolescents that I work with all the time, but making sure they get outside, and also making sure that they have conversations. The other issue regarding Snapchat and Instagram, and I don't think the younger kids are on Facebook anymore. I'm still on Facebook, but I think they let Facebook go, is that they lose the ability to communicate face-to-face. And I think that's something else that parents should take into consideration when they are, again, working with their children and making decisions about time on screens and or watching TV.
That rises to the point where you need to bring a professional in, I always say parents know their kids the best. If something seems wrong, go with your gut, right? If something seems like it just doesn't make sense, trust your gut. Call a professional. Don't always think that you have to handle it alone as a parent. The second part of the equation is think through their development as a young person in a way that allows you to do it with a level of objectivity, right? Meaning, if your child was bad, did something you didn't like 3 weeks ago, that shouldn't necessarily influence the decision you're going to make to call a professional, because that could have been an anomaly. So it's about looking at patterns as a parent. And I think that someone who's spent over 20 years in education, it's the same premise that I would have when I work with my students. If I see a student repeatedly over time acting out in class, but yet they weren't doing that 2 months before, I'm automatically going to start trying to connect the dots to say there's something else here. I need to figure out how to find out. Is it contacting the family? Is it asking other teachers? And I think talking to other caregivers who are around your teenager as a parent is also something that will help you bring things on an upward swing.
The best way a parent can help protect their children from developing a clinical depression is to get educated, first and foremost. So there's so much, like there is on this website, so much information available about identifying mental illness. And to be naive to that, to not take the time to learn about that, is missing a vital opportunity to protect your child from developing depression. So What kinds of things can trigger depression in kids? Certainly, we know marital discord can. So if you're having problems with your spouse, work on it. Going into couples therapy could actually help lessen your child's risk of developing depression. There's a simple thing. If your child is starting to use drugs or alcohol, major problem for triggering depression, creating a clinical depression. It's not something that any of us want to see our minor children doing, but there is a risk there, especially if you have depression in the family, of developing full-blown depression. So educating your child about that, especially if they know something about depression, they don't want to have that problem, letting them know that if you drink or start smoking weed, etc., you're more likely to develop this, much more likely.
It's been said about parenting that the days are long, but the years are short. Being a mom or dad can be hard, but the Children's Services Council provides support to help parents be their very best.
What is a better alternative than yelling at your child?
Yelling is a very common way that parents have in dealing with children who are not cooperating. And so they've asked them to do something, the child is not doing as they're told, so they raise their voice, they repeat the instruction, they may threaten, they may escalate the voice, and what we call this is an escalation trap. So the parent gets into a situation of learning when kids resist, if I escalate, children will cooperate. So right at the point that we're at our worst by being angry and shouting, what happens? Kids cooperate, and they're inadvertently, accidentally, unintentionally rewarding us for being shouters. So we've got to recognise that there's some intrinsic payoffs for shouting because it works. It works temporarily. The problem is that in the future, when you want your kids to do something, you're more likely to have to resort to shouting to get them to do what you want. And so the key to doing less shouting is to become highly attuned to your own tone of voice and how annoyed or angry or irritated you're feeling when you're asking your child to do something. And if you feel as though the temperature is rising, you need to be able to self-regulate, calm yourself down, and use a calmer, more specific, clearer voice that gives the child a clear direction about what it is that you're wanting to happen. And then if you're needing to follow through and back up because they're not cooperating, really focus on not escalating your own voice in the backup process. Because if you do so, what children learn is that if I misbehave, parents get angry, they then threaten, maybe I even get hit. And right at the point the adult is at their worst, children will be cooperating, but it's almost like to shut the parent up at that point. And the problem from a parenting perspective is that adults are learning that this is necessary in order to get kids to cooperate, and it's totally not necessary to get kids to cooperate. Calmer voices are always more effective.
I think if I had one thing to say about parenting and mental illness and mental health in our kids is don't make assumptions. And there's lots of commercials about this, but put the screens down, the phones, the TV, make time to talk and listen. Lead with your ear as a parent. I make this mistake all the time with my 3 kids. I rush to reassure them rather than take the time to make sure I really have listened to them. No, you are well liked. You're really a great kid. Oh, you can do this. You're really a smart kid. Instead, say, tell me why you can't do this. Do you feel stupid? Yeah, I feel stupid. I can see why you feel stupid. This is the LEAP method that we teach, but it's also just sort of basic parenting 101. Listen, make the time.
What's your advice for divorced parents raising a child?
Well, when the brunt of parenting falls on one parent, it becomes very important for that parent to be internally consistent themselves with their children. To the extent that they're able to share a vision on how to handle things with the children with an estranged partner, that's a very good thing to occur. But sometimes when there have been communication difficulties, communication breakdown, between parents, that is one of the contributing factors that might have led to the breakdown in the first place, an inability to reach agreement about how to handle situations with the children. What it means, though, is that if children are being looked after by multiple other people in the child's life, including the estranged partner or perhaps even that partner's extended family, when children return to the care of the primary caregiver, it's important that that primary caregiver is as consistent as they're able to be. So children can sometimes tolerate differences between how they're handled when they're at dad's place, or how they're handled when they're at mum's place or with a grandparent. But what they find even more challenging is that if there are big differences from one day to the next where they're with the same parent. And so it's important in those times of changeover and going from one family to another that it's not clouded with acrimony and conflict, and so that children learn that they can play one parent off against the other parent, and there's friction and concern occurring. And so kids are returning from periods of time where they've been absent from the parent and bringing back into that family situation distress and unhappiness as a result of being cared for by someone else.
When parents spend too much time on their smartphones.
Distracted parenting is a phenomenon associated with distraction that we all experience these days with electronic devices and other things. What children need is for those devices to be set aside and for one-to-one emotional connection, play, for example, reading, talking. And when you provide that, you're providing brain food for your child. Unfortunately, electronic screens don't do that as well as the three-dimensional parent does. So I'd ask parents to schedule time during their days to put their electronics aside and be present with their kids.
Just a reminder, for parenting tips, expert advice, and links to local resources for families raising children in Palm Beach County, please visit everyparentpbc.org or download the free Every Parent app. We also want to tell you about the Nurse Family Partnership, which was designed for Palm Beach County moms to provide access to much needed guidance and assistance. Here's more on the program.
If you are pregnant for the first time, Nurse Family Partnership is a free program that will pair you with a nurse who will help you and your family.
My name is Cameron Bello. I'm a single mother. I'm 17 years old. This is my son, Andre. He is just the most amazing baby. He's always laughing and smiling. He loves to make people laugh. He loves the park. It's his favorite thing to do. He loves to go down the slide and sit on the swing. He could sit on the swing for hours with no problem. The thing about getting pregnant was just the judgment, mostly from my family, because I knew, like coming from a Spanish family, everything was strict.
My daughter Cameron has come a long way. It was hard for me to find out when she was pregnant. It was hard for the family. It was hard for her.
Being a young mom, being judged by people, it's always been a thing in the back of your mind where, people always tell you, oh, you'll never do this or you'll never be able to do that. So you always have that in the back of your head, like, well, maybe I won't be able to do this, or maybe I really won't be able to do that. But, it's always tough to have those negative voices in the back of your head from hearing it from other people. The Nurse Family Partnership Program has really helped me change that mindset that I had. My current nurse, Carrie Ann Dixon, has been a huge part of that. She's been a great role model. She's always helped me and encouraged me and made sure that I pushed forward no matter what people were telling me.
As a first-time mom, you know absolutely nothing. You're completely lost. You don't know which way to go. With Cameron, I've been able to bring in different activities for her to do with Andre. They can play together. I've been able to show her when Andre has had enough, the importance of creating a routine, like a bedtime routine for him, reading stories with him.
Because of this program, I finished high school at Quantum High School in Boynton Beach. I have 2 jobs. and I plan to go to Florida Atlantic University to study accounting.
All the goals that she wanted to follow through, she has done. I couldn't be more proud of her. She is an amazing mother. She is awesome.
I am in a great place today. I see a great future for myself. I see a great future for my son, and I don't think any of that would have been possible without this program.
To learn more about Nurse Family Partnership and other free local programs for pregnant women, call 561-623-2800.
The collaboration between the Palm Beach County School District and the Children's Services Council is an example of cooperation and teamwork. And another organization helping families, the Palm Beach County Food Bank, which helps to feed about 100,000 Palm Beach County residents per month. Here's CEO Dr. Lisa Williams Taylor with more.
The story of the Palm Beach County Food Bank is truly the story of Palm Beach County's generosity. The richness of our land and the richness of our community spirit help feed about 100,000 Palm Beach County residents a month. It begins here in a field several miles west of Belle Glade with this ear of corn. Almost every weekend for 6 months a year, volunteers go out to the fields across Palm Beach County for what is known as gleanings.
So what we do when we glean is the farmers donate the land, usually a second pick or a harvest that would not be grocery grade. We come out here, we recruit our volunteers, and we recover the produce. We pack it in bins, goes into the food truck for the Palm Beach County Food Bank, and we load it up and we send it back to the food bank.
Every year, the food bank distributes more than 5 million pounds of food. About 50% of that is fresh produce straight from the farms of Palm Beach County. Once the food arrives at the food bank, it is sorted by volunteers and boxed up.
When I was growing up, my parents always taught me the importance of giving back to the community and helping out those who are less fortunate. So this is just my opportunity to keep that going. Feels really good, you know. The people who are less fortunate, they don't exactly know where their next meals are coming from. So if we could just help out and, you know, give them a solid source of food and nutrition, you know, it helps out. It goes a long way.
From the food bank warehouse, the food goes to about 170 agencies and groups in our county. One of those groups is the Lord's Place in West Palm Beach. The Lord's Place Family Campus provides housing for families who otherwise would be homeless.
We get a lot of good vegetables from the food bank. We have squashes, tomatoes, Brussels sprout, cabbage, but today we have the sweet corn that everyone loves.
And just a few days after the corn was plucked from the field, Sarah Lynn and her family are getting ready to eat it.
When we're in a rut and we need things that I'm not able to get at the times that we need it, the food bank comes in handy. I love getting the fresh vegetables because it's homegrown. Are you guys ready to eat some delicious corn?
From the field to a child's plate, the Palm Beach County Food Bank is truly rooted in our community. Please donate your time or money. Feed your neighbor, feed your soul.
These are tough times, and they call for everyone coming together. What we have tried to show you in this episode of Helping Our Kids is when our community works side by side, we can make a huge difference in the lives of Palm Beach County residents. We truly are better together.